If you're thinking about making a move in Greenville, South Carolina, we know that schools are always going to be an important factor, whether you have kids or not. And a big part of that is because we always know that resale is going to be a concern for any home that we own. So I want to make sure that I'm talking about the education options that are here in Greenville, South Carolina, everything from private schools to public schools to charter schools and all the above. So if you want to learn all about the schools here in Greenville, this is the video for you. Hi, I'm Evan Whaley, your favorite Greenville realtor. Let's go ahead and give an overview of the education system here in Greenville first. Typically, Greenville County is rated as the #1 county in all of South Carolina for education. So overall, you're in great hands if you're thinking about moving or you already live here in the upstate because we have some really great schools and great options. We also, as I mentioned, have some great private schools, we have some great public schools, and we have some charter school options. When we think about private schools, a lot of the private schools tend to be religious. Some of them are non-denominational, and we do have some that aren't necessarily religious focused, but for the most part, that is what you tend to see from the private school side. With charter schools, what we tend to see is kind of two different segments. We have one that focuses in more from a science and math perspective. A lot of that kind of has an engineering style curriculum, and then we look at more of an arts focused or language focused program. So we have a lot of schools that have a full immersion into Spanish or other languages as well. So those can be really incredible options to pair alongside of the private and public schools that we already have here. Greenville County has the #1 rated public school system in the entire state of South Carolina. So you're in great hands if you're looking at public school options. Now let's talk about some elementary, middle, and high schools. I can't talk about every single school in this video, but I'd highly recommend looking at niche or greater schools to learn more about each individual school system here, because there's a lot here in the upstate and some really great ones. I also would recommend that you tune in to the very end of this video because I want to talk about something that not everyone knows about our school systems here, so make sure you stay tuned in. Let's talk about the elementary schools here. Elementary is K through 5 here in South Carolina. One of the schools that I most often get asked about is Augusta Circle. Augusta Circle is in the Augusta Road area. It's in our downtown, and really it's been known because it's such a great area of town to live in, and the school has been rated very highly as well. They have lower teacher to student ratios, and they tend to have a rating somewhere between an 8 to a 9, depending on which rating system you look at, out of a 10. The home zone for this school system are typically going to be around the 700,000 plus range. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at schools and thinking about your housing options as well. Another school that people often ask about is Oakview Elementary. Typically that has a really great, strong rating system. There's a little less than 1,000 students that go there. It tends to have about a 16-to-1 student to teacher ratio. And the home prices tend to be around the 700,000 price point in that school system as well. And the last elementary school that I'll talk about is Buena Vista. That's in the Greer area. Overall, that gets really high ratings and has a great middle and high school that's paired with it as well. So it tends to be a school system that a lot of people will gravitate towards. The median prices in that area are around 500,000, but you can find stuff a little lower and much higher depending on what you're looking for. Now let's move to middle schools. Riverside Middle is actually the middle school that kids from Buena Vista actually will go to. This is a STEM school that focuses in on science and technology. And overall, as I already mentioned, it's one of the most highly rated school systems in our area. A middle school option for someone that is really into music and theater is Langston. It's a really difficult charter school to get into, but for someone that's into performing arts, you really can't find a better option here in the upstate. Another great middle school option is Beck Academy. Beck Academy specializes in several different foreign languages. They also have some performing arts as well. This is a magnet school. It's a great opportunity for someone that wants to learn different languages, as they have several that they specialize in. Let's move along to high schools. Let's start with Wade Hampton. Wade Hampton is a school that's actually won a lot of awards recently for academics and for performing arts. They also have some very solid athletics as well. Next up, let's go back to Riverside. So Riverside High School is one of the best high schools in the area. And again, it's zoned for Buena Vista and Riverside Middle, so you have a strong school system throughout all of the grades there. And the last high school that I'm going to talk about is Mauldin High. Mauldin overall has historically just had a very consistent reputation. They've done well. You'll see that there'll be some pretty strong scores, some high parent ratings. Overall, people have been very satisfied with the education they get at Mauldin High. And now let's talk about a few private schools. Now, there's so many great private schools here. There's tons of different budgets. There's tons of different options as far as religious, non-religious, non-denominational, but two that I tend to hear a lot of people talk about is Christ Church. And when you look at Christ Church, it's an Episcopalian school. Overall, they have a 100% graduation rate in high school. They have some really wonderful academics. It's a very academic focused, and overall is a great option for someone looking for that. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I couldn't mention every wonderful school on here, so just because I didn't say it doesn't mean they don't have some really wonderful academics. I just tried to give people different options that might appeal to their specific needs. So if you have any questions about the academics here in Greenville and you want to learn a little bit more about the school systems, feel free to reach out to us. Now, for what I promised you and why you should stick around in this video, something a lot of people don't know is Greenville actually has something called first school choice. What that means is you can actually submit to go to another school district that you're not zoned for. It's not guaranteed, it is a lottery system, and if you do take the buses to school, you wouldn't be able to take a bus to a school that is out of your zone. But it is a really great option, so it doesn't tie you down to one specific location to make sure you have to move into that school district. It has gotten a little bit tighter as Greenville's population has grown, but I have had a lot of clients in the past that have had success with moving their kids to a different school system that fit their own personal needs. So as I mentioned, if you have any questions about the academics here in Greenville, feel free to reach out to me. All my contact information is down below.